You're right, it's been a minute since I made a post. So, let's talk about what happened. I'm on track. I kind of fell off track, sorta. I'm gonna walk you through it. Because there's all kinds of ways our brain kind of plays tricks on us, you know, when we're doing this stuff. Hold on. I imagine, so I'm going to be video editing this now, I think. So I'll probably speed it up or something, cut it out, I don't know. I guess save some of the live pressure, but like just trying to hit 11 minutes or 12 minutes or whatever. Alright, well, you know what? Before I jump into that data, let's talk about this for a second. I'd like to have consecutive videos. I gotta flip that around so I can't see myself. I'd like to have consecutive videos, and I think about how look, part of this is me thinking, how do I build a YouTube channel? How do I build a brand? How do I do this other stuff at the same time? Now, I know I should just have fun with it, right? But part of the way my brain functions is I chase things out way too far down the road all the time. Sometimes it's good, right? I see stuff that other people don't see, but it gets in my way. So here I am making this video. I missed a few days. Because this weight thing, it blurs, right? It is a tumor in my mind's eye, right? Every single thing that I have done, almost every single thing that I have done through late childhood, adolescence, adulthood, I'm looking through this lens of I'm a fat person, and this lens of you're fat because you're lazy, because you're undisciplined, because you're, right? There's all this shit in there. Now, some of it, the idea behind it, you can step back and look and say the idea behind this is love, hopefully, but some people don't know how to express that the right way, so you internalize it and you do all this shit with it, okay? Meditation has been phenomenal. I highly suggest doing the meditation. I've been off it for a couple days. I need to get back to it. Because it just kind of helps you let go of the bullshit, right? When the negative self-talk starts to come up, you're like, oh, well, this is just that thing, and that thing's trying to help, but it's going about it the wrong way, or whatever. Like, really, in the one I've been doing, it talks about just observing the thought and letting it go on its way without trying to attach yourself to how it feels and stuff. So, anyway, it is fucking hard to share this. The ego part of me takes over sometimes, and I don't think it's hard to share this, right? But that's when, see, when I'm letting that be in the driver's seat, this is when the imposter shit starts to come up for me. And that's part of why sometimes I get tearful and stuff, because it's just such a big goddamn thing. So, I missed a few days of posting about it. But I stayed. Okay, here's what happened, man. I want to do fasting, alright? I've done some fasting. I like fasting. The research, so one of the things I'm always really concerned about is my metabolism shrinking, right? There seems to be research that your body, so this idea of your metabolism shrinking, your body gets more and more adapted to what's going on, which means if you're gaining weight all the time, your body gets better at gaining weight. It's like, oh, we know, you're overeating so you can put fat here. We know how this is done. Let's get to it. And whereas if you're going through periods where you have less coming in, the body adjusts and goes, hey, less is coming in all the time. Let's adjust to that. All right. And the more you do that, that's why yo-yo dieting is really bad, because you just make it worse each time, right? It holds the weight stronger, and it lets go of it not as easy, or it packs it on easier. Just from the research I've done, Google and YouTube, and so it's a real concern, right? Can I mentally cut my calories back to just 1,200 a day, 4 times a day or whatever? I can. But I'm worried that if I do that, the last 50, 100 pounds or whatever are gonna get real hard, because it gets used to that. So fasting seems to, again, from what I've looked into, seems to sort of keep that from happening. Keto tends to help with that, and from what I'm understanding, the idea is that if your body's if your body's adapted to using fat as a fuel source, then when you shift over into burning your own body fat, it doesn't feel like it needs to lock things down. From what I'm getting from it. So why I prefer keto as my preferred nutrition method. Now, this is not me telling somebody do their thing. You do you. I have tremendous respect for some folks that have lost a lot of weight by going hard vegan, right? I have tremendous respect for a guy who did just what he called no bullshit, whatever. He cut soda, and then he cut sugar, and he eats vegetables and meat, and kind of what we think that the diet should look like. So for me, I like keto because I can get rid of cravings. There's this whole chain of events that happen with hormones. Leptin, ghrelin, insulin, they seem to affect one another, and those seem to be the things that make me crave food. If I go good on keto for a minute, so that I'm not having insulin dumps, the cravings virtually dissolve, right? So on all this nutrition shit, the jury is constantly out. Like, nobody really knows. There's just lots of conflicting data. So again, do you. This is the one I'm doing, and this is the one I've done the best with for long periods of time. Which brings me back to fasting. At my weight, loose skin is a real concern. It's not a big enough concern to not lose weight. That is a whole separate conversation that should be had, because that's one of the things that I would say to myself, like, oh, you'll just have loose skin or whatever. It feels good to weigh less. Just get this. 550 pounds feels like shit carrying that around. Okay? 500 pounds feels like slightly less shit carrying around. 450 pounds less. I've only lost, maybe 15 pounds this last month. Huge difference. Huge difference. So that alone, who cares about the loose skin just from getting healthy weight loss standpoint? But coming back to loose skin. So there is something called autophagy. Autophagy is the way that your body recycles its dead cells by attacking protein, right? Or utilizing protein, okay? So one of the things people say, well, if you fast, you're gonna burn through your tissue, right? Your body needs protein, you're gonna burn through the tissue. From what I've looked into for fasting. Jimmy Moore, Jason Fung, Peter Attia, Thomas DeLauer. These are my primary sources of information along that line. And to a lesser extent, Dom DeAgostino and Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss is actually where I got really led down this road to start with. But that's not what he's a writer. That's what he does. He might be like what they call influencers. He was probably doing that before they were calling it influencers. Anyway, I'm digressing again. So this whole idea that if your body goes after your protein, you're going to lose muscle mass. Well, apparently your body's a little smarter than saying, let's go straight for the muscles you need the most and recycle that protein. No. Your body picks and chooses the shitbird cells, the ones that need laid off, decommissioned, right? And loose skin happens to be the type of protein that it might want to recycle. So this is a lot of my interest in fasting, is to minimize the loose skin. I think one way or another is going to have to get cut off if I'm going down that road. And so I've already mentally working myself with that. But it seems to me if they have to cut off less, that might be less of a shock. And fasting is interesting. So when you go for this period of time without food, your mind gets razor sharp. It is hard to explain. You like, and 42 hours is the max I've gone. I may have gone further way back. So, and how that gets accomplished is you have like a late dinner and then you skip all your food the next day and then you have like a late lunch or an early lunch. Late lunch, somewhere like that. 42 hours, okay? So, so here's where I fell off, okay? So, fasting, right? Now, we talked about this idea of slowing down your metabolism. I'm fascinated by how all this stuff works. If anybody's following this just to try to do weight loss, get inspiration, motivation, whatever, you don't need the science. You don't need the science to go take the first step. Okay, so I'm sorry I'm digressing again, because I'm just thinking about the people who get paralyzed with a bunch of information. Let it go, don't worry about that shit. Go take that first walk and see how it feels, or do that first video session, the first DVD or first whatever. Just do it, see how it feels, start writing down your food so you get an accurate picture of what's going in your mouth, and then start by cutting out the stuff that we all know is horse shit. Cut your sugars, cut that stuff. Just start there, do it for a minute, see how you feel, and then figure out where you're going to go from there. You'll start losing some weight, you start feeling better right then, your mind will feel better. So just take some action and then come back for the science if you want. Now, having said that, just so I feel better, okay, science, I'm fascinated by it. So, apparently when you're fasting, this doesn't make your body freak out and go, hey, you know, we're not getting enough food, da da da. You just roll. And like I check, you can check your ketone levels in your blood, and those will go up when you're fasting. Now, I'm still stuck on this idea of let's call it glorifying food. I don't have a good term for it yet. Where this is linked, the consumption of large quantities of food is linked to pleasure in my mind, right? And no doubt there's some family stuff that links it to that pleasure, but also the fact that just eating fires off dopamine, right? This is the same reason people do drugs like coke, right? Same reason people have trouble quitting smoking. Risky sexual behavior, right? Dopamine. So, like, well, so if you're eating 2,000 calories a day, and if you skipped 2,000 calories one day, guess where this is going? You could have 4,000 calories this day, or 3,000 calories. And so that's what I did. And it made me sick. I didn't know why at first, and I still haven't put my finger on it. Just that. Oh, I can't even explain it, but it is an unsettling sick feeling. Now, I'm starting to think that I'm getting that from cheese. Sorry, I just stuck my finger in my ears. Sorry. It is what it is, folks. So here's what I did. I fasted a day. Then I hit like a 2,000 calorie day or something like that. Then I fasted another day. And then I did... Oh, hold on. Show me by the week. There we go. Yeah. So I fasted a day, did 2,000 calories, fasted a day, and then it was like 4,000, 3,000, 4,000, 4,000. Yeah. Let's just make sure that's right. Yeah. Now, where you call it an eating disorder or whatever, I don't know, right? I'm not gonna label it, I suppose. There's no point in that. Just the recognition that here you are chasing that familiar thing, that short thing that you want. Now, I stayed in keto macros on that, right? That doesn't mean it was a good idea. My ketones dipped because I had so much protein when I did that. And I didn't gain any weight. I still lost a little bit. But I talked about that idea of gratitude. I've talked about it a lot of times. That if you can be grateful for the fuck-ups, right? Because here's what I learned, and what I keep relearning. There was this time that I went and bought ice cream. And I had been on the diet for a long time. And I just wanted ice cream. And I got it. And I took like 2 bites. And I was like, this does not taste as good as I thought it was going to be in my mind. It's just not. I literally tossed it out. I threw it away because I was getting no pleasure from it. But my mind was like, oh, ice cream is the best ever. Oh, ice cream. Right? They're false memories. They probably was at that time, but your body chemistry changes, your tastes change, what's important to you changes, right? So why fight that? You know, why revisit that? So now I didn't feel good, which is a lot of why I didn't do the videos. Now, was I going, hey, it's probably because I ate a bunch of this shit. Yeah, it was like meat and cheese and some vegetables, but it wasn't good. And I didn't even really link it up like, oh, that's why I'm feeling shitty. Maybe your body doesn't want to get flooded with a bunch of shit all at once, and it goes, what do I do with all this right now? That might be why I felt sick. I don't know. But so, I didn't make videos. And processing. Look, this video right now, hopefully the tone comes through, because I'm just feeling more playful. I'm just like, whatever. I'm just gonna talk. It is what it is. It helps not being able to see myself in the thing. This different camera, it helps. So I'm back at it. I mean, I was at it. Oh. Here's the other thing that happened. On the fasting days, I continued to exercise pretty heavily, and then wondered. I was like, gee, my muscles are staying sore longer than usual. What has happened? The fact that I didn't eat protein on those days might have a little something to do with how long it was taking the recovery. Maybe. I don't know. So I'm probably going to need to do like 1 or 2 long fasts a week. The rest I'm probably going to keep on like a 16 and 8 intermittent fasting. Because intermittent fasting, it gives you a chance for, like, when you eat, insulin comes up so that it can help process whatever carbs and whatever else is going on. When insulin is present, it's much harder to burn through fat. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist. This is to the best of my understanding. Makes it harder to burn through the fat. And so when you do like even a 12-hour fast, right? If you just make sure don't eat after 10, and wait till after 10 for breakfast or whatever. Or don't eat, probably what's more, don't eat after 7 at night and have breakfast at 7 in the morning for work if you work at 9. Even that gives your body a chance to have this period of time without the insulin presence. And so the fat burning goes up. It could be anecdotal for me. It could be, what do they call that? Causation versus correlation. But again, when I'm doing some kind of fasting protocol, the pounds melt easier, and for me, it feels like, and cravings so much less. So much less. Okay, what else? Yoga. Yoga's good, man. It is good. It feels amazing. One of the things, sorry, it's getting loud out there. Let me. Yoga. So, my toes hurt, okay? During the first couple days, my toes hurt. It's not like lifting. At least for me, one of the things I could do with lifting is you just kind of sit there and you get psyched up and then you're like, boom, right? You can even tap into aggression. With yoga, you're just standing there holding that pose and the muscles are burning and the guy's talking and I'm like, wrap it up. Right? I'm sure he knows how many seconds you're supposed to be standing there. We're not waiting for him to finish his speech to move on to the next pose. But I was like, okay, stop talking, next. But man, it feels good. Oh, I can feel the flexibility already. Oh, in fact, like just doing this number, I'll just be sitting there, because that's one of the things you do. I'll just be sitting there in my bed and I'm like, oh, that feels like, oh, it feels good. Holy cow. To get that stretch in through things, oh my goodness. So yeah, yoga. I'm looking at maybe getting a Bowflex, because I really do want to lift too. I like lifting. I do. I like it. And it's weird because your brain, again, the way your brain wires up shit, where it's like, oh, you don't like this. Like we tell ourselves we don't like exercise. I really do. I mean, I hate arms. right? I fucking hate arms. I do not care for it at all. I think part of it's because of this rotation here. Part of it is I don't like how it feels. I love back. Oh my god. Back. Oh. There's, you just like grab the thing, you pull, or you do the one overhead, and then later that night, you can just like pull your back muscles and you just feel them all down. Oh my god. And chest. Everybody loves chest. Like, there's, when people think about going to the gym, they think about bench pressing, so that goes without saying. Legs suck, but legs are fun for me because that's the one place where I tend to stay. Like every other person there, like if we're doing chest, I'm less weights. But with legs, I can tend to keep up. Like on a leg press, like if I don't have to get my core involved, get my arms too, like deadlift, then you know, chain is only as good as the weakest link. So anyway. That's where we're going to end it for today. I bet I just rambled for 20 minutes. It was a good time. I had fun. So, thanks for watching, folks.